Hi, vacation rental owner or manager. Today we're talking about a couple questions I hear all the time. What's E-Design, and does it actually work for an STR? And honestly, I understand why people ask because E-Design can seem a little confusing. So by the end of this episode, you'll know what E-Design is, how it works, how much it costs, what can go wrong, and perhaps the biggest question of all, can decorating really make much difference in my bookings and revenue? Hi, vacation rental owner. Welcome to the Step Up Your STR podcast, which is all about specialized decorating so that you can make max revenue in your business. I'm Kara, and I've designed dozens of STRs, all of which charge in the top 10% of their area competitors. Today, we're talking E-Design. I'm going to answer the frequently asked questions that I get about it. What it is, how much it costs, how it works. So whether you're considering E-Design with me, another designer, or you're simply trying to decide what needs to be tackled in your property, my goal is to assist you to make the best decision for your situation. Let's dive in. Frequently asked question number one, what is E-Design? At its simplest, E-Design is a decorating plan delivered virtually, like through email, and then it's up to you to get the furnishings in place. A lot of work is done by the designer, some work is done by the owner. So instead of a designer traveling to your property, measuring everything, shopping with you, overseeing the installation in person, the entire design process happens remotely between owner and designer. So like for me, I live in Salt Lake City, Utah, and my latest E-Design was for an STR owner near Tulsa, Oklahoma. E-Design is ideal if you don't live near a designer who specializes in vacation rental decorating. It begins with a discovery call, and we figure out which rooms you'd like designed. You provide measurements and photos of those rooms, and then the designer creates your design plan. And then you receive, usually by email, like I said, you get that plan with all the info that you need to implement the design yourself. Typically, a plan includes a design concept, furniture recommendations, shopping links, room layouts, and styling guidance. Okay, now I'm going to try to show you my screen so that you can see a sample E-Design I've made, and I'll show you how it works. For those of you listening, I'll try to describe what's on the screen. I also do make this as a video podcast, so hopefully you can watch it if needed, if that might be more helpful to you on YouTube, or Spotify, I think, has that capability. So I'm going to see here about sharing my screen. All right. So I'm hoping you can see here it says example E-Design deliverables. So what's on the screen here is at the top, a table, with columns and rows. And then at the bottom are some visuals of furniture, what the exact furnishing items look like. And then also a floor plan, like an aerial view of the rooms that were designed. All right, so first let's talk about this table. The table really is the meat of a design plan. So the columns across the top are the items, the links, color and size you should buy, how many, the quantity you should buy, the pricing, the notes column. And now the notes column is really important because this tells you exactly where to put everything right down to the inch, how to put everything in the room. And then lead time is approximately how long it takes for an item to be shipped to you. All right, so those are the columns. So that's along the top. And then down the left side, these are what you'll find. You'll find for this particular living room, you'll find a curtain rod, curtains, a rug, sofa, pillow cover, pillow insert for that pillow cover, all those pieces of information. So like for that first item, the curtain rod, you follow the row across. You'll have the link to that exact curtain rod. You'll get the color and size to buy, quantity, in this case one. There was one window in this living room. how much it costs, etc. And then along with that notes column that tells you how to put everything in place, this aerial view that you see down here at the bottom of the screen, this shows you where to put it in the room. So it's just a really thorough design plan. In a nutshell, that is what an e-design looks like. You can think of it as having a roadmap without paying for someone to physically drive the car. Now, each designer's e-designs can look different. Mine are created to make the process as easy as possible for you, to the point that you could even hand off that plan to a team, and they'll put it all in place for you as if I were there doing it for you. And for many STR owners, e-design is exactly what they need. Next question, who is e-design best for? Of course, e-design isn't for everyone. Let's be honest about that. If you want someone to work without needing your input, to manage contractors on the ground for you, to be local, to oversee installing all the furnishings, to receive deliveries, send back things that might have come broken, assemble furniture, hang artwork on those walls, and style all your shelves, e-design probably isn't the right fit. In that case, full service design would probably be a better option. But e-design is often great for owners who have a budget and want to spend it wisely. They are comfortable ordering products online. You can hire help, local help if needed, like sometimes it is easier to put together a coffee table with two people. It's good for owners who are comfortable with just some professional guidance, who don't necessarily feel like they have to pay full service design fees. If they live far away from the property, like I said, because they can hand off that design to a team to install it for them. Many of my clients are managing their properties in another state. They self-manage. Some have property managers handling their operations. And what they need is that proven decorating plan to tell them exactly what to buy and how to put it together. And that is where e-design shines. It's really a versatile service. Okay, question number 3. Is e-design cheaper than traditional interior design? Yes. It's usually significantly less money. So just to give you a quick upfront number, my e-design service is $950 per room. And then to buy, for example, furniture for a bedroom, think about $3,500 to $4,000. So that's just kind of a quick overview. $950 for the plan, and then a few thousand for the furnishings. Traditional interior design will include, however, site visits by the designer, scheduled site visits between the designer and the owner, site visits with the designer and the contractors, travel time, project management fees, coordinating contractors, installing or overseeing all the installing of furnishings, receiving those furnishings, having styling days, and just many additional services. And every one of those services requires time, and time costs money. But with e-design, you're paying primarily for the design expertise itself, the strategy and vision, the selections. The digital plan is emailed to you. So yes, e-design is generally far more affordable than traditional interior design. But I want to be careful here. The goal isn't simply to spend less money. The goal is to get you the highest return on your decorating investment. That's a different approach and a different conversation. All right, question number 4. Can decor really impact revenue? This is probably my favorite question because the answer is absolutely yes. Here's why. Guests book with their eyes first. Before they read your description or compare any amenities, before they read reviews, before they know anything about you, they see your photos. And what's in those photos determines whether they click on your listing or whether they keep on scrolling by. It determines, the decor determines whether they save your listing, whether they compare it to another property, and ultimately whether they book. Your decor isn't just decor, it's much more than that. It's marketing, it's sales, it's positioning, it's branding. It's often the single biggest factor for determining whether guests perceive your property as worth your nightly rate. I mean, compare it to a luxury hotel. Do luxury hotels spend millions on design because they enjoy pretty furniture? Of course not. They do it because environment influences perceived value. And the same principle applies to STRs. When guests perceive greater value, they are willing to pay those higher rates. That's why correct STR design matters. Next question, why can't I just copy a listing that I like? You can, and some owners do try to do this, but there are risks. First, you don't necessarily know why that listing is successful. Is it really because of the design? Well, maybe it's successful because of something cool about the location. Maybe it has incredible views. Maybe it has a very unique amenity that guests can't find anywhere else in the area. So it might not just be about the design. Second, copying design often creates generic results because you'll start to see more people with the same design, essentially. We can't afford to do that because the STR market is just increasingly competitive. I live next to Park City, Utah, and the last estimate I heard was that there are about 9,000 vacation rentals in that little town. Guests are seeing hundreds of properties on listing websites like Airbnb, and the properties that stand out online and will stop the scroll typically have a clear identity. They're not like other designs. They have a clear identity, their own look, a clear target guest, and a clear design strategy. It's not just a collection of some nice furniture that might look nice to you. Great STR design isn't about making a property look nice. It's about making that property bookable. That's a different objective. It's this approach how goals and outcomes of successful STR decorating, those are different from regular decorating. Next question, what makes STR design different from regular design? This is a huge one because many people assume good residential design and good STR design are the same thing, that they're interchangeable, but they're not. A homeowner designs for themselves. An STR owner ideally designs for a guest. A homeowner asks, what do I like? But an STR owner should ask, what will attract my ideal client and make me revenue? And that's a major difference. Successful STR design that helps you earn more revenue considers things like location, photography, guest expectations, occupancy, revenue potential, guest demographics, your competition, emotional impact. A property can be designed nicely and still underperform. I've seen it before because nice design doesn't automatically mean profitable. Next question. What do you actually receive in an E-Design? So I did show you that schematic earlier. However, every designer structures things differently. You'll find different schematics and methods between E-designers. Sometimes it's a really loose plan. Sometimes it's very detailed like mine. For my clients, the goal is simple. Make the design process as easy on you as possible, including, like I mentioned, the ability to hand off that E-design plan to some workers who will put everything in place as if I were there doing it for you. So you get that really thorough, complete plan. You'll know what to buy, where to buy it, how many, everything works together, and you'll know exactly where to place everything down to the inch of where to hang that art on that wall and where to place that decorative pillow. The idea is to remove decision fatigue for you, because one of the biggest challenges that owners face is not knowing whether they're making the right choices. Should I buy this sofa? Should I use this rug? What artwork will look best in photos? Will these pieces coordinate with each other? Will they even fit through the door? Is it the right size? Specialized STR design eliminates that uncertainty. So instead of spending weeks or months second guessing yourself, you'll have a clear plan in a couple of weeks that can be implemented as quickly as you would like. So that leads to the next question I get pretty frequently. How long does e-design take? It's typically much, much faster than traditional design. Regular traditional interior design often takes years to complete, actually. Like 3 years is pretty common. But an e-design usually takes about a month to maybe 5 weeks total per room. And that's from the initial design call to having everything in place in the room. If you're putting together multiple rooms, it often seems to take another week for each room. So plan on about a month for one room and 1 additional week for each room beyond that. This is because there are no site visits to coordinate with the designer, no installation schedules you have to follow, no travel logistics. The timeline largely depends on how quickly measurements and photos and that type of information are provided to me. STR owners who can move quickly on that typically give that info to me in a day. And then once I get that info, the design process can move quickly. I usually spend about 10 days per room, 7 to 10 days to get the design created and emailed to you. And then putting your design into your property becomes entirely dependent on how quickly you order and install those furnishings and get it ready for, at that point, ready for photos. So for owners trying to get a property listed as soon as possible, this quick speed is often one of e-design's biggest pluses. Its biggest advantages is speed for the owner. Next question, what if I have a small budget? This is a really common concern, and honestly, I love this question because professional design isn't always about how much money you spend. It's often about spending existing money that you have more strategically. I can't tell you how many owners have purchased furniture multiple times because they weren't confident in their choices, and that's frustrating for them. Or they bought pieces that looked probably good individually, but they don't work together. Or they fill up a property with random items that don't really photograph very well. Those mistakes definitely add up in time and money. Mistakes like these are often very, very expensive. And I really feel for owners with this because I've lived through mistakes like these, probably all of them in the early days of our marriage before I understood much about design in my own home. So I've made these mistakes. I know how it goes. And I want to help you prevent these mistakes so that you can get a property fast that will earn you good revenue. A thoughtful design plan, an e-design that is customized to your needs, can really help prevent expensive trial and error purchases. And that is very valuable regardless of your budget size. All right, how do I know if e-design is right for me? Here's the simplest answer. E-design is probably a good fit if you're okay with putting furniture in place on your own or overseeing a team to do it for you. It's good if you want some professional guidance, and definitely if you want a property that stands out, correct decorating for that, like through an e-design, is great. E-design can be good if you want a clear plan that removes guesswork on your part, if you want to avoid those costly decorating mistakes, if you don't need someone like a designer right at your side, physically present throughout the project, if you're able to go ahead and follow a plan. And if you understand that design is an investment in your property's performance, then e-design can be great for you. On the other hand, if you want someone handling every detail from design inception to installation to getting it photo ready, then full service design might be a better fit instead of e-design. Neither option is right or wrong. There are simply different solutions for different needs. All right, so my final thoughts, I will leave you with this. Many owners think that decorating is the final step, that it's something you do after everything else is complete. But in reality, decorating is one of the most important business decisions that you'll ever make for your STR, because your decor shapes first impressions. The decor in your listing photos is your first interaction with a potential guest. It decides the perceived value of your property. It's all about your positioning in the marketplace. And ultimately, that decor is your revenue potential. The question isn't whether decor matters, it's whether your design is helping you charge more, book more, and stand out more online. If the answer is already yes, wonderful, keep going. If the answer is no, it might be time to update your property. Thank you so much for listening today. And if you have been wondering whether E-Design could be the right fit for your vacation rental, I'm happy to hop on a quick call and think through that with you. My contact is online at my website, vrdecor.co/contact. That's VR as in vacation rental decor.co/contact. And I'll also put that in the description of this episode. I hope that this episode has been useful. If it has, will you please share it with a friend? Thank you so much. And I look forward to talking again next time.